You know, the shortest introduction is when the President of the United States is introduced. And they're saying that the more famous a person is, the less you say about him. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the coach of the world champion Washington Redskins.
Right now, I hope my popularity is a little better than the president's. But we had, from the Redskins standpoint, I was doing pretty good until our schedule came out. You know what I mean? You're living on, hey, we won a Super Bowl, we won a Super Bowl. All of a sudden we see that schedule for the next year, and it's a little bit like Bill. You take a big gulp, and I say, my gosh, it's back to reality. Why didn't I get out? When we just thoughts like that go through your mind. I want to say that I have a greater appreciation for Coy. I made that trip around the Beltway today, and thanking him roaring around that thing. Actually, I did pretty good on that. I want to confess to everybody, though, that I'm not a morning person. I like getting everything. Maybe a lot of you are that way. You like to get up in the morning and do things. I don't. I like to get up, stay up late at night, get everything done, and so you may have to slap me a couple times this morning to get me going. A little story on that. When Theismann was there, I swear that somebody must have got up in the morning and shot him full of sugar to get him going, because this man is on a literal high as soon as you see him. And I used to sit there and would stand up late at night, as the football coaches do, as Buck and Bill, Morgan will tell you. You stand in there late, so I like to get everything done late at night, no surprises in the morning, warm up kind of easy, have a cup of coffee, and I sit there in the morning, kind of be reading my Bible, and our walls are so thin at our park. We need a new building too. We're getting one, by the way. We'll be in July. I'm excited about that, but the walls are so thin, it's a little bit like that pool partition there. I never heard the noise from behind, but I'd be sitting there in the morning kind of reading and having a cup of coffee, reading my Bible a little bit, and I'd hear the first rookie come by, quarterback, because starting for the first meeting, and bump, 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 he'd go by my office behind me, and then I'd hear the next the next veteran come by, bump, 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 and then I'd hear Theismann come down, he'd hit that room, you know, and he'd just start jabbering on the other side. So I go around, and I go in there, and I'd say, okay, now, in the quarterback meeting, I'd say, on trips right, and Theismann would go, trips right, I'm going to take the safety and key the right line, and I'd say, now, on trips right, what we want to do on trips right for this week, and he goes, I'm going to key the free safety and the strong safety, I'm going to go here, and then finally I'd go about 3 times, and finally I'd say, shut up. And finally Joe would go, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to shut up. Somehow we were able to get along, although we had opposite clocks, you know what I'm saying? By the time I got excited, he was winding down, but so, all that's being said this morning to tell you that I'm not a morning guy, so you may have to correct me a few times here. I want to share just a thing or two, and then I'll step away, because we got focus on the building and the things that we have up here. But I wanted to speak just a little bit about one of my pet peeves is education. And you know, I often wondered when we made a decision in our public schools to throw God out. You know, I wondered sometimes. I said, well, who do the kids look up to then? If we've removed God and prayer from our school, I mean, where does the discipline come from? And I think we're seeing the product of that, really. I mean, it's kind of sad, because my sons really were, Coy and JD both went to Christian junior highs, and then because of athletics, I think God kind of led them they led them first of all to the Christian schools in junior high, and then I think back to public schools as athletes, and they wanted to go back there, and they kind of made that decision. And I think God kind of led them there. I was trying to persuade JD to go to a Christian school in the 7th grade, my oldest son. And I still remember what happened. You get a kick out of this, Bill. He had a little bit longer hair, and some of his friends are going to the Christian school, and so anyway, we were talking about it, and I said, hey, I think you need to go over there. And he goes, there's no way, I'm not going over there. Yeah, and I said, is that right? And he goes, yeah, there's just too many rules and this and that, and so I kind of prayed about it. And so we go to camp that year, and we're getting ready for his 8th grade, and he's up there working in camp with me, and the coach came up from that Christian school, And he said, "Hey Joe, do you mind if I speak with JD for a few minutes about coming over and going to school for, playing football over there for us in 8th grade?" I said, "Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something. You're a losing cause here. You'll never get this done." Because I said, "Hey, I'm the dad, and I've been trying to persuade him for 2 years. He's no way he's going. Too many rules and this and that." And so the coach goes over there and he talks to JD. He talks to him for about 5 minutes. I'm standing out there, and here comes JD over to me, and JD looks up at me and he goes, "Dad, I made up my mind. I want to go to Christian school, Bethlehem Baptist." And I went, "That's 3 minutes. What's the deal? I've been talking to you for 3 years." And I said, "Look, we're not going to rush into this, but the bottom line is JD went home and kind of prayed about it and went down, and he got his gear together and took off, and he was gone to, so coaches are pretty persuasive, as long as it's not the dad, I found out. They're not going to listen to the dad at all, so it takes another coach. But in any case, we had experience in both schools. And I just want to share with you from an educational standpoint. I tell you, speaking specifically about Coy, who came over here, that's the closest thing to our heart, isn't it, our children? And we can talk about the jobs and the money and winning football games or something. People tell you that's the most important thing in the world. It's not. And it's just like Morgan was saying, the most important thing in the world, the only thing we're really going to leave here when we go on, is going to be the influence we've had on others. And chances are it's our children's our most important investment. And then it's going to be the way we've helped others. Really, that's the only thing we can leave. And so we spend our life, many times, I feel sorry for a lot of us, because we think that it's becoming president of the company, or maybe making a lot of money, or building a house, or in my case, winning football games. The world will tell me that's the most important, and that's not it at all. And so many times we fall for that, don't we? So our investment in other people, in particular our own kids, I mean, nothing breaks your heart like your own kids. And my sons got caught up. Coy was in a situation where, hey, it just wasn't a good situation. And to see them go to school and spend every single bit of energy. You remember how important it was for you, the gals and everybody, how important it was to be in school, to have somebody there that cared about you. And when you're participating in sports, hey, you give it everything you have when you're that age. If the right person touches you, you're going to die for them. And I saw my son laboring in a situation like that, and the discipline wasn't there. A lot of the kids on the team drinking and getting caught up in a situation that was just, I mean, break your heart. And so we go from a situation like that to him making up his mind that he wants to go to another school and visiting around. And I knew, again on the recruiting thing, I said, well, you just look around some schools and you tell me where you want to go. And he visited several schools where he had an opportunity to go. And the third one that he talked about was DeMatha, and it was a long ways away for him. And I talked to Bill one time on the phone, and I told Pat when we got off the phone, I said, he would go to DeMatha. Because I just talked to Bill one time on the phone. I said, this guy's, he's going to go to DeMatha. Coy came over, came back that afternoon and said, I'm going to DeMatha. Bill got a hold of him, and that was it. But I want to share something, too, the difference. I want to just share from it here, if I can, just maybe give you a picture, because it was my son. Nothing breaks your heart. I said I think it was good for a football coach to have kids, because so many times we're standing on the sideline as coaches, particularly in pro ball, and you find yourself, people out there, guys run up down the field. Hey, you forget they have parents. Really, I do lots of times. I try and keep that vision, but you can't. Many times you're going, hit them, kill them, knock them down. And then all of a sudden you go over to the high school, my son starts playing, I'm going, they're trying to kill my son. So I think it was on a personal basis for all of us. But when my son came over to DeMatha, and for me just to call over there, hey, I talked to John once or twice, or I would call over there and Morgan would answer the phone. I really appreciated the fact he would go, hey, I just saw Coy, said he's doing great, man. And if I wanted to call Bill, and I asked him, we have a problem, I was worried about one of his classes or something, hey, he was right on top of that. I called John once or twice about some things, that I was concerned about him. Isn't it great to have somebody that cares about your son, and that when they go to school, that they're going to work and play and be educated by somebody that really cares, and really cares about them, and knows them personally, and cares about making an investment in people. I tell you, I was so excited about that change. And having seen one vision of what happens, kids going to school, and I tell you what, from my standpoint, maybe many of you can't maybe share from this, but maybe you have different fields, whether it's medical or whatever. I could watch a football program that my son was playing in, and believe me, know that those guys were so far off base, they didn't know where they were coming or going. And yet that was something that they said they wanted to do for their whole life, and they were actually football coaches of kids in high school and really had put very little time into preparation or even know what they were doing. I was dumbfounded. And then to see them come over here and see them being involved and go to see basketball games, where I'm looking out there and I'm saying these guys are probably some of the best coach kids I've ever seen, period, bar none. I'm talking about pro ball, college, or anything. We go down and watch Morgan and those guys play, and I say, this is some of the best coach kids I have ever seen. And then to go to Bill's program and see my own son over there and be a football coach and spend time with it, and to see that program and realize that that's as good a coaching job as I've seen done. And know that my kid was in that. And what a relief to know that your kid's there being handled by somebody that really knows what's going on. If he decides that they're not good enough to play, I think I could rest with that. You know, or hey, lift them up, put them down. Things would happen like Buck would come over and look at film, and Buck, you know, to think that a high school offensive line coach, just from terminology standpoint and from coaching standpoint, is one of the hardest positions in the world to coach. Most people, they can't tell you what to do. I've heard those guys talk and sometimes about offensive line play, Buck will tell you. And in some of those high schools, I knew they weren't going to block anybody because I couldn't have blocked anybody with the rules they have. They don't know what they're doing. And to see Buck come over and study films and actually have a discussion with him and realize here's somebody that's smart, intelligent, really cares about kids and wants to be good at what he does and is a knowledgeable person. You know what I'm saying? They're not shortchanging your kids. And they didn't shortchange a lot of you guys when you went there. And as an example, y'all are out right now and doing some great things in the world, and you're probably some of the luckiest people in the world. Because I played in some of those programs too, where you go and having some coaches, hey, they just didn't care. And nothing's worse than that. I think that's one of the greatest sins in the world. To be doing something as a professional, something you've given your life to, and to do it poorly is one of the greatest wasteful, sinful things in the world, because you're wasting the talents that God gave you. If you're a doctor, you want to be the best doctor in the world. If you're an educator, you want to be the best educator. If you're a carpenter, you want to be the best carpenter. And I think if you're an educator, football coach, your obligation is to be the best in the world. But I'm sorry to say there's a lot of people out there who don't feel that way. So I'm excited about getting a chance to try and, my experience was unbelievable. Coy's was fantastic. I love the school, committed to it. I do feel like that, hey, I'm a part of DeMatha's alumni, even though Coy only got to share 1 year here. It was a big part of our life. I'll tell you what, it made me feel so good about seeing him go from the situation he was in to the one here, the situation where he actually came outside of a locker room as a junior, fell in my arms and cried for 30 minutes after the last football game because of some things that happened. That broke my heart. I didn't let him out of my eyesight for 3 days. And then to see him the next year come over here and play in this program and step up and get a play in big-time football and have somebody that cares about him and somebody, guys that want to coach him and people in the classroom that are looking after him. Hey, that was the greatest thing that happened to me. Hey, that football season, hey, I got to tell you the truth. Going to a Super Bowl, I would have traded it all for that 1 year that Coy had over here. That's nothing. It's not even close. You guys know what it's like to be a parent in those situations. So I just want to say to you, we got something great here. I would just encourage you, hey, it's time maybe to give something back. All of you probably given a lot. I think they probably, Morgan did, right? They probably tapped you a few times. But remember, it's like a car sales, man. We got to close this thing today. Let's get some money out. But I think, you know, I think I'm just emphasizing things that y'all have known for a long time, because many of you have been part of this program for a lot longer than I have. But I just want to tell you, for a freshman coming in last year, I felt great. And it meant a lot to me and my family, and we want to be a part of this program that we're starting here, and they do need this building. Hey, I can tell you this, I also see other facilities. And DeMatha deserves to be the best. Hey, they got the best people working there. You got the best guys involved with the kids. And we need to have the best facilities there for them. So I really want to be a part of it too. And so I just encourage all of you that you're making an investment here in this building. I'll probably be here. After a lot of us are are long gone. They'll still be working and helping kids in it. And so I just encourage all of you. I want to say a personal thanks to everybody here that worked with my son. And I'm proud to be an alumnus with like the rest of you. I wish I'd have gone here. It would have been great to play here and to have people that care for you and to work with you like they have here. But I didn't get that opportunity. But I tell you, my son, that meant a lot to me. And I get a little emotional when I talk about it because that's how important it was to our family. We went from a disastrous situation where I was really concerned because football, hey, for right or wrong, athletics at that point in my son's life was the most important thing in the world to him, and it was getting to be a disastrous situation for us. To see that go in a family's life and turn around just the opposite meant a lot to me. So I know a lot of you feel the same way. I just encourage you, hey, let's do the best we can and try and get this thing going. And I want to say a thanks to all of you for getting up this morning and being here with us. I appreciate that very much. And thanks, John and Bill, Buck, Morgan. Appreciate all the times I called over there and you said, hey, old Coy's doing well, whether he was or wasn't.